everyone, I'm Richard Eisenbeis for GameZone.com and welcome to Big in Japan. One of the biggest cult hits of this generation has been the Valkyria Chronicles series, and I hands down loved the first. And while the second game has been largely praised for all the positive additions it made in gameplay, I felt that overall it was much weaker in story, character, and pacing. However, none of that dampened my anticipation for Valkyria Chronicles 3, Unrecorded Chronicles. Unrecorded Chronicles takes place over the same basic time period as the original Valkyria Chronicles, though often in other parts of the country, as Gallia attempts to repel invading Imperial, hereafter referred to as Nazi, forces. This time, you command the Nameless, a Black Ops squad comprised of slackers, crazies, foreign nationals, and other rejects who are stripped of their names and sent on only the most dangerous of suicide missions. The main characters in this iteration are Kurt, a brilliant young tactician who is assigned to lead the Nameless against his will, Rayla, who is nicknamed the Angel of Death due to her penchant for getting her allies killed, and Inka, an antisocial loner driven by revenge to kill as many of the enemies as it takes to reach her target. On the other side of the coin, we have our new antagonists, Calamity Raven, the Nazis' own Black Ops unit comprised almost entirely of Darksons, hereafter referred to as Jews, who have been taken out of the camps and promised a homeland after the war if they help achieve victory for the Nazis. This of course leads to the deep moral dilemma of this game. How do you feel about having to constantly battle and kill these Jews who, tired of being persecuted in the countries of anti-Semitic Europa, have agreed to fight for the dream of a safe haven for their people? There are 20 chapters in Valkyria Chronicles 3, each represented by a map in the command tent that has 1 or 2 green pins, free missions, and 3 or 4 red pins, story missions, with cutscenes interspersed between each. In general, battles play the same as in past iterations. You choose a unit, zoom into third-person view, move said unit, and attack. The biggest addition is the new SP point system, which allows for the main characters to perform special attacks. Kurt's special is direct command, which allows for him to take up to 2 other characters in tow as if they were all one unit. Inka has the ability Open Fire, which hits all visible targets with an armor-piercing shell, and Rayla, well, she transforms into an invincible Valkyria for 1 turn. Knowing when and how to use your special attacks completely changes how the game is played. There have been a wide assortment of changes on the back end as well. Now, experience points are used to upgrade the whole army's stats 1 by 1, while each character levels up in their given class based on how much they are used. Battle potentials are now the same for each character in a given class, and after switching classes, they can still equip 1 potential from a previous class. And if certain prerequisites are met, powerful cross-class potentials can be unlocked and equipped as well. The graphics have improved greatly since Valkyria Chronicles 2. Not only do the anime cutscenes look great, but the comic cutscenes are much more dynamic as well. In battle, the characters all have distinct models that reflect their individual personalities, and are much more than just different heads being dropped onto the exact same body. As for the audio, only about 1/4 of the game is voiced, though far more than in Valkyria Chronicles 2, and while Hitoshi Sakimoto composes the soundtrack once again, none of the music really stands out. Also on the downside, every map is reused a minimum of 5 times throughout the game, with some of the most common from Valkyria Chronicles 2 returning for yet another tour of duty. Some battles are just impossible to win without foreknowledge of the encounter, i.e. losing once, and the multiplayer aspects present in Valkyria Chronicles 2 have been completely removed. But the biggest issue is lag. On older memory cards, it's practically impossible to play this game without its 750 megabyte install. So, if you plan on buying it off the PlayStation Network, make sure your memory stick is new enough and big enough, or expect the time needed for each battle to double at the least. Though, in the end, things like lack of full voice acting or repetition of maps are downgraded to minor gripes in a game this packed with content. The game's story easily takes 75 hours to complete, and that's not even counting the post-game missions, character side story missions, DLC missions, and all the missions on branching paths. Then add all the data and voices for all the cameo characters reprising their roles from Valkyria 1 and 2, in addition to the plethora of unlockable original characters, and it's a wonder there was any room for even half as much content as there is. Valkyria Chronicles 3 is a great sequel. It manages to recapture the feeling of the original while streamlining the innovations of the second. I couldn't recommend this game any more. But be warned that it is kind of a time sink of epic proportions. But to tell you the truth, the thing I really like about this one was the love triangle. Both female characters are interesting in different ways, and more importantly, neither one of them is annoying. In fact, no, it can't. I gotta go.
The world. It used to make sense. Big bust, evil. Big bust, evil. But big bust, not evil. There must be some kind of connection, something beyond what I can see, something in a different androgynous zone? Skirts? Skirts. No. Both good and evil wear skirts. There's no connection there Unless a short skirt. No, unless showing skin. Of course, I see it now. Bustiness leads to evil, but can be countered with short skirts showing a little leg.
It's so obvious!